50th anniversary, room 30, Abbey Road Studios, Paul McCartney, Wings, let's go. Everybody, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. You found your way over to the Modest Audiophile channel, and yeah, today we're going to go over the 50th anniversary edition from Miles Showell over at Abbey Road Studios of Wings, Venus, and Mars. Did I mention half-speed mastering? More on this in a second. Okay, so what we're going to do today, we're going to briefly cover the presentation, the overall condition of this record. We'll go into the tone stack, the bass, mids, treble, how that sounds. Cover soundstage and imaging, a little decibel level checks, and then we'll get on to the songs and what I may have heard for the very first time or experienced in a different way that I am accustomed to. And then we'll get you out of here, all right? Let's go. All right, so like I stated earlier, this is the 50th anniversary, which means this album originally came out in 1975. 27 May 1975 to be specific. This is also the first album with guitarist Jimmy McCullough, if I pronounced that right. And as previously mentioned, the lacquer was cut and it was half-speed mastered by Miles Showell over at Abbey Road Studios, room 30. And it is pressed at Optimal Media in Germany. All right, so let's do the overall presentation and packaging first, and then we'll get on to what really matters in this video. How does this thing sound? But first, let me just state that I paid $42.99 for this. I bought it at a brick and mortar store. What I did just check is that it can be had for $36 and change at Amazon right now. Put the picture up here someplace. All right, so what do you get for $42 or $36 if you order online? Well, you get quite a bit actually. The overall package is pretty nice. You get a nice album cover. It's a gatefold. Here's the front. If I can get, yeah, here's the front. Here's the back. And on the inside, you get this. It's a decent quality stock. It's not the thickest in the world. It's not a Rhino high fidelity, that's for sure, which is okay. But this'll do. But you do get a lot of nice swag on the inside. You get the Venus and Mars sticker. You get this planetary sticker here. You also get a couple posters here. I'm not going to fold out the whole thing because I'll have to back up quite a bit. But you do get, real quick, I guess I'll fold it out. You do get this one here. New Orleans, I presume. There's that. There you go. We have the, yeah, just this Paul McCartney half-speed mastering Abbey Road Studios, a little blurb from Miles. And we had the record sleeve right here. I think this was the actual record sleeve. I don't remember. I bought this probably about 3 months ago. I don't recall if there was a paper sleeve on the inside separate to this or if there was a polyline sleeve. I don't recall. So there you go. That's the overall presentation. You get a lot of little doodads and knickknacks for your $36 or $42 respectively. How is the condition of the record itself? I will say everything that I've gotten out of Abbey Road Studios, certainly over the last maybe 2 years, quality's been really good. 180 gram, flat. The label and the whole was centered. There were no pops, clicks, skips. Everything was really, really nice. So check mark there. All right, let's talk about soundstage and imaging really quick. This one's nice. The overall soundstage in my room here, I've got my speakers set up. These super Lintons behind me. I've got these speakers set up about 9 feet apart. I sit 9 feet away. The overall soundstage presents itself about 5 feet outside the left and outside the right speakers. A nice wide soundstage. In this case, I'm also getting the height, which goes up towards the ceiling just about, which is about 4 feet higher than my tweeters, and it does reach the floor in certain cases as well. How's the overall image? Image is excellent. All the instruments are laser locked in their place within the image. So if you close your eyes and you see the music with your mind's eye, everything is in its rightful place. There's no smearing, there's no overlapping. Everything is really nice. As far as the overall depth within the soundstage, my speakers, the front of my speakers are 3 feet in front of the wall behind me. This album is getting some of the instruments and vocals to project into the room in front of the speakers. So again, with your mind's eye, you kind of get that holographic sense that some of the sounds are actually emanating from within the room itself. And the depth is very nice. So you're getting maybe about a foot in front of the overall speakers, and it goes back towards the wall, which is 3 feet behind my speakers. So a nice about 4 feet of play there for the depth. Very nice. So boil it all down. It's got a really nice sound stage, and it's got a pretty darn good image as well. All right, as far as the overall tone stack goes, meaning bass, mids, and treble, you're not wanting for any bass here. You do get a nice, warm, round, full bass within the presentation of this 50th anniversary edition. The mids are great from the different instruments of the acoustic guitars, the piano, vocals, the electric guitars, nice crunch and tones coming off those electric guitars. Mids are really good here. And as far as treble goes, you do have some of that sparkle up on top. A lot of the cymbals, the decay, there are some sound effects which I'll mention here as we get into the songs. Those present themselves very well. And you do get a sense of air and space, meaning that again, close your eyes, you can actually feel the sense within the room of the overall soundstage. Mileage may vary, but in my room, on my system, you do get a nice sense of airiness and space. So I will say as well, this is a really nice recording, great production, well recorded, thoroughly enjoyable listening experience. Again, you have a nice soundstage, the image is really, really good. A lot of fun with this record. Before we get into the decibel level checks, I'll state that I set my my integrated Rotel at a volume of 68, just mentioning it because that is pretty much the average for where I listen to the majority of my music. I didn't have to bump it up, I didn't have to turn it down. This thing, as far as the overall volume and how it was cut, was pretty good, average. Nothing else to share there. Okay, as far as the decibel level checks, the first one I did was side 1, track 1, title track, Venus and Mars. Had a low end of 66 decibels with a high end of 87 decibels for an average listening of 82 decibels. Very nice, right in my sweet spot. All right, we did one more decibel level check, flip it on to side 2, and I did listen to what the man said. This one's good. Low end of 48 decibels, high end of 86 for an average listening of 81 dBs. Nice range. It was engaging, very nice. No complaints with the overall dynamic range. All right, now we'll get into the songs themselves, and I'll pull out some tidbits that I either heard from the very first time or I thought that was remarkable enough that I wanted to mention it here. All right, so let's get on to side 1. Side 1 starts, like I said, with the title track, Venus and Mars. What I wrote here was great, clear, snappy acoustics. The song begins with the acoustic guitars, very clear. I'll mention again, if I hadn't already, the overall condition of the record, there was no noise, meaning that between tracks, it was silent. There were no surface noise, no Rice Krispies, no, again, pops, clicks, skips, nothing like that. Very, very good condition, very silent record. All right, so great, clear, and snappy acoustics. Really nice there. Had a nice wide sound stage, and you knew that right from the get-go. Right from song 1, you knew that the sound stage was going to be above average. Very nice. The instruments were very clear, and as I mentioned earlier, on a very black background. Song 1, Venus and Mars. On to song number 2, Rock Show. Little Jimmy Page, right? Rock Show. A couple things I put here. At the 1 minute 10 second mark, you hear those bright chimes or tubular bells, and they are extremely clear, and they're sitting in space a little bit. They're not the most holographic thing in the album, but they do kind of sit in space. Very nice presentation of those sounds. Nice isolation of the slide guitar, which comes in the center of the soundstage, back a little bit. Really nice there. Nice layering you're going to see throughout the rest of the record as well. At the 4:42 mark, I put, after the breakdown, after the song kind of stops, slows down, and picks up again, at the 4:42 mark, really nice bass. Full, melodic, warm, nice. And lots of stuff going on in this song that I hadn't really picked up on before. And let me go back a little bit. So I should have mentioned this at the beginning. I've never owned this album before. I've streamed it. But I came into these songs, I was 6 years old when this thing came out. And I do remember some of the songs on the radio for the first time. We'll get more to that later. But I do want to say that I picked up on most of these songs hearing it for the first time on the live album Wings Over America or Wings Across America. And a good majority of these songs are on that live concert recording. So this was a little bit, obviously the presentation on the studio version is a little bit different, a lot more stuff going on. So if you have gotten used to these songs from that live recording, like many have, and you pick up the album for the first time, you're going to be surprised by a lot more instrumentation, a lot more stuff going on in the studio, which obviously should be the case, right? For song number 3, Love in Song. First thing I put on here was excellent lead vocals. In fact, McCartney has some great lead vocals on this album, as strong as he's ever been on any record. Really good. And on this particular one, that's the case. And his lead vocal comes in about center of the sound stage, 2 feet above the tweeters in my space. Really nice. Nice percussion and isolation on the right too. I hadn't heard that before. Check it out. Some percussion is literally hanging out in space there on the right hand side of the soundstage. All right, let's get on to song number 4. You Gave Me the Answer. I put lo-fi, meaning every once in a while McCartney does these, like Lennon would say, these granny songs, right? You heard the lo-fi on one or two of his tracks on the White Album, meaning it doesn't present itself as high fidelity. It's kind of on purpose pushed back a little bit in the soundstage. That's the case with this one. It's kind of like a vaudeville song, if I'm trying to, if you're not familiar with the song, kind of sounds a little vaudeville-y. Not a surprise for McCartney whatsoever. But the most important thing is the soundstage here really sets you up for the next song. And that is song number 5, Magneto in Titanium Man. So you're coming out of this lo-fi kind of vaudeville song, and then all of a sudden you come into Magneto in Titanium Man. The soundstage blossoms. The image is pushed more up front. It sounds bigger than it is. Really nice change of scenery in your mind's eye. It's a wide soundstage, full organ to start. The organ, it fills the room, and then you've got the drums and bass which come in right behind it. Nice backing vocals and isolation here too. What do I mean about that? I mean the backing vocals of the different singers, Linton and the rest of the band. You can actually see them again with your mind's eye as separate instances within the overall image. Nice reverb on guitar solo, which really sweet, and it projects a bit into the room too. So the guitar solo on Magneto and Titanium Man, pretty nice. All right, let's get on to song number 6. I put a star next to this one. This is not one that you hear all the time, but man, it sounds really sweet on this record. Great guitar tones. I put throughout the intro and the rest of the song, coming out in the left and right hand side of the soundstage. Really nice guitar tones. It's got a thickness to it. It's the only way I could articulate it. This song feels thick in a good way. You've got a very nice full bass coming out of the center of the soundstage. Big soundstage, as wide as any on the record, 5 feet plus on either side of the speakers, and this one does go from ceiling to floor. Big, wide soundstage. Nice layering within that soundstage as well. You can certainly disseminate the different vocals and the different instruments within that soundstage going front to back. I put horns are big, proud, and up front on this one. Yeah, the horns were really nice, and they project into the room. They're loud and they're proud. Really nice version of the song, Letting Go. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Hey everybody, I just want to say thanks. Yeah, thank you for coming on by and watching this video. I appreciate it. If this is your first time here, take a look around. You just might find something else you like. I got, I don't know, 75 videos now. I bet you there's something else you like. And for those of you that have been here before and have come back for more, thank you from me to you. I really appreciate it. If you want to support the channel and you haven't hit the like button, yeah, go down there and hit like. If you want to support it a little bit further and don't want to reach in your pocket, who would ask you to do that? Just go down there and hit the subscribe button. You can always take it away, but in the meantime, it really helps out the channel. All right, let's get back to Venus and Mars, because it's out of this freaking world. Let's go. All right, let's get on to side 2. Side 2 starts with Venus and Mars Reprise. Lots of space in this song, obviously, for artistic purposes, I'm sure, but you do get that sense of space and airiness within the soundstage. It's tangible. It's something that you may not be able to see, but you can definitely feel it. I put great reverb on Paul's vocal. In fact, here he's swimming in reverb on this one. Get your wetsuit out. Really, really nice. And you get some at the 1 minute and 15 second mark. You get these spacey sound effects, and they do dance within the soundstage from left to right and right to left. And they are in isolation, and they are up front. They're hanging out within your listening room, almost like they were separated from the rest of the soundstage. Very nice effect. Really nice effect. Now you have a really cool crossover going in from Venus and Mars Reprise to the second song, which is called Spirits of Ancient Egypt. In fact, Paul wrote it, but Denny sings this one. And I'm a big fan. First time I heard this was on Wings Across America. Sounds a little bit different here. I put definitely from 1975. Yeah, this song definitely is from a certain age. There's no doubt about it. Really nice image on this song too. Again, I almost included this part as the first song when you include the crossover. Really nice. Spirits of Ancient Egypt. All right, and song number 3 is called Medicine Jar. It was written and its lead vocals are done by Jimmy on this one. In fact, I think he actually may have cut this song with a previous band of his as well. Not entirely sure on that. But anyway, as it pertains to this album, yeah, Medicine Jar, anti-drug song, read the lyrics, very cool. You have a full sound stage, and I'm hearing new guitars here for the first time, coming out of both the left and right-hand side of the sound stage. Not forward, but a little bit back within the overall sound stage. Very nice. Guitar solo is dripping with reverb, starting at about the 1 minute and 45 second mark. Just, yeah, like I stated earlier, bring your wetsuit. There's so much reverb on this thing. It sounds really nice. All right, now on to song number 4, and I got a star next to this one as well because it's really good and you don't get an opportunity to hear it that often, called Call Me Back Again. Right in the intro, the lead guitar jumps right out into your listening space. Very nice. The piano on this song is much more prevalent than I recall hearing it on previous versions or streaming. Yeah, the piano on this one's much more detailed and more full than previous iterations that I've heard this song. I'm hearing new percussion and cymbals that I haven't heard before, or I haven't noticed hearing them before. Maybe they're a little bit more forward in the mix now. I'm not entirely sure. That half-speed mastering does do quite a bit of niceties for things such as cymbals and in the high notes. Low notes too. But anyway, you get the point. I put another awesome, strong vocal by Paul. This one gets up there with some of his best overall vocals throughout his career. Really strong vocal. You know, I swear there are times when we think that the collectively we don't give kudos to how great of a vocalist Paul McCartney is. The range that he has is really excellent. And in this case, he's showing the power behind his voice on this song, Call Me Back Again. Very nice. All right, song number 5, arguably the biggest hit on the record. I remember hearing it when I was 6 years old. Out of the back seat of my mother's Oldsmobile Tornado, listen to what the man said. What I didn't know is that Dave Mason is the guest guitarist on this song. Yeah, that Dave Mason. As I mentioned earlier, the production, the recording, everything on this album is really well done. This song might be the best on the entire album. What a production this song was. Huge soundstage, the best I've ever heard this song. The sax is dancing around within the soundstage. Again, having that effect like it's outside of the soundstage, if that makes sense. Projects well. Nice full bass near the ending too. As you get down maybe the last 30 seconds of the song, it kind of slows down naturally and then kind of has this outro, and Paul's bass on that sounds really good. On to song number 6, and that's called Treat Her Gently. Things that I'll mention here, again, the vocals and backing vocals mesh really well, are presented very well within the overall soundstage. It fills the room. The star of this song really is the piano. It's robust, it's thick, it projects really well in your space. It fills out your listening space. There's also a little bit of slide guitar playing here, and it's sneaky. I put it sneaky George-like slide, tone-wise. Yeah, sounds a little bit like Harrison's slide guitar playing. Pretty neat. Maybe I was just thinking that. I don't know, but that's what I got on the song. And then at the end of the song, Paul hits the low bass note on the piano, and that thing just rings out. And again, fills out the space of your listening room. Really cool. And that goes into the last song, which is a little thing. It's called Crossroads. It's an instrumental. I think it was for a TV show, a British TV show back in the day. Anyway, Tony Hatch wrote it. Sounds okay. It's certainly not the thing I'd mention when I'm mentioning this album, but that rounds out the overall album. All right, so what are my final thoughts on this 50th anniversary half-speed mastered version of Wings, Venus and Mars? Let me put it this way. Every time I put this on and listen to it, I am so glad that I did. Meaning, sometimes I put it off to the side and say, oh, I'm going to listen to this tonight, but I keep scanning through the rest of my collection. And more times than not, I pick something else out. I do the same thing when I'm listening to Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I don't know why, but when I listen to that record and I would listen to this record, I'm so glad that I did. And I'm like, what the heck were you thinking? Why did you give this thing a second thought? I shouldn't. It's that good. The overall presentation, I mentioned earlier, the overall production value is second to none. This is the best I've ever heard this record. It sounds really, really good. For the $42 that I spent for it, or the $36 that you can get it on Amazon right now, is it worth it? Yeah, I think it is worth it, especially if you're a Macca fan or if you're a Wings fan. This is a no-brainer. Go get it. Again, you get a lot of the swag that comes with it if you're into that sort of thing. So there's a lot of value here for the money, especially at $36. If you're a fan of soundstage and imaging and maybe just a cursory fan of McCartney, this might be worth it for you as well. The soundstage is really delightful. The overall image is very engaging. It's a thoroughly good listen. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. A thoroughly good listen. I have no regrets whatsoever from spending the money on this version. So that's it, everybody. I hope you were able to get something out of this video today. Hey, if you're a McCartney fan, a Wings fan, yeah, you may want to do yourself a favor and go out and get this thing. As I mentioned earlier, you can get it for $36 on Amazon. I don't get a thing. Wish I did, but I don't. So go out there, plan for it. Life's stressful enough as it is. I'm sure you could use a little bit of downtime, so place the order. In 2 days, you're going to get this thing. Bring it home, give it a bath if you can. Even brand new records are a little dirty, so give it a bath. Get your favorite beverage ready. Put this on the turntable, kick back, turn the lights down a little bit, and enjoy the nostalgia ride that you're going to get out of Venus and Mars, especially if you're a little kid like me, 6 years old, listen to what the man said coming out of that Oldsmobile. All right, everybody, take care. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And on to the next one. Hint, got a couple Grateful Dead records that I found in the cheap bin. Yeah, we'll talk about that soon. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.